Found a little bit of light, trying to find my heart. Honey, when I break out a lifestyle dark. Honey, when I write, get a tight flow spark. What a psycho chart, playing dice, go starter. Who are you? Better know yourself. Know your soul, gotta know your wealth. Slow your roll, get a hold, don't melt. And don't you fall when I feel like hell. Well, who am I? Am I me? I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Writing, trying to get myself a lamb color cuss for the game. Leave from hanging by a chain. Click, bang, feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane. And it's always feel the flame. 45 to my brain, praying for it, please fail. No glory.
皆様こんばんは。 Friend or Foe へようこそ。素人プレイヤーのために作られたプロの e スポーツ環境をエミュレートするプログラムです。さあ、今回はシーズン5がやってきました。Team RLS グランドファイナルで敗北して以来、このチームはゲームプレイとお互いの絆を両方訓練し、もう一度トロフィーを手に入れるチャンスを狙っていますね。シーズン MVP アンタイは引退したため、全ての注目はプレイヤーケイリー・アレクシアにとどまっていますね。彼女が新しいキャプテンエスケープとどのように連帯できるかが楽しみですね。Team BIP Friend or Foe のプレイ歴が一番長いチーム。周りからはオールスターのベテランと呼ばれているほどの強いチームですね。チャンピオンシップに勝つという充実された目標が透き通るように見えますね。予選を簡単にクリアし、優勝への道が見えているかのようですが、このチームを止められるチームは現れるのでしょうか。プレイヤールールとベテランプレイヤージャフィー、アントゥーンズがどのように協力するかが気になりますね。チームのメンバーを変更しましたが、新しい連帯は大丈夫でしょうか。オリーリ、ニエッツニとシーズン1のチャンピオンであるスローブローのプレーには目を離せないですね。前シーズンでは敗北を味わったこのチーム、果たしてトロフィーを手に入れられるのでしょうか。パワーハウスのレーナークリムスとビオーナーズがこのチームの目玉になりますね。Team New Wave Tsunami シーズン2のベテラン S サンライズがプレイヤー100期丸、ティーキー、Gimme a Reset、オリーと共に登場してますね。予選で激しく戦った FOF のベテランプレイヤーでできているチームです。前回では弱点が暴露されましたが、今回は大丈夫でしょうか。Team Pandas with Hats シーズン2のベテランキャプテンヒューブズがお戻りされたらしいんですけど、今回は自分の作ったチームとともに Friend or Foe を挑戦していますね。新人プレイヤー Voltaic Penguin や素晴らしいのような新世代がベテランプレイヤーとどう連携するかを見るのが楽しみですね。キャプテンヒューブズと新世代プレイヤー、勝利へ導かれるのか。 Team Washed 運命であるかのように彼らはシーズンのスポットを与えられました。予選の前半はものすごく調子が良かったですが、後半はがっかりするようなプレーが多かったですね。運命はこのチームを勝利へと導いてくれるのでしょうか。現在チャンピオンのゼンゼンは高度なスキルを持つプレイヤーと言われています。前のチームから抜けて自分がふさわしいと思うプレイヤーで組み立てた新しいチームですが、チームワークの方が気になりますね。予選ではプレイヤーリーブズやメズーザが注目されていました。 TDE の新しいキャプテンの指導がこのチームをどう引っ張るのかが楽しみですね。Team Universal Basic Income シーズン1と2の王者ですね。 ジェフ・ガーゲーム、ユーティリティモンスター、シヴロックのすごいプレイヤーが集まっていますが、ものすごく強い連帯のあるチームですね。前シーズンの王者、果たしてこのチームを倒せる新人チームはいるのでしょうか。
Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary friends, welcome back to the Friend or Foe Series Season 5 Heroic League. It is gonna get hype. I don't know about y'all, but I am super excited. I am your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster, Sharogan, and joining me on the caster desk, we've got Lolo from across the pond.
Sharo, we're back. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a banger season. It feels like it's been forever, and I'm ready for some electrifying gameplay from these teams. Let's jump right in. We've got Washed and Beat Boop.
Yes, and this is actually a really exciting matchup because we have got Team Washed, who are entirely brand new. They had not played in Friend or Foe yet. This is their first time going through it. And on Team Beat Boop, we have got some seasoned veterans that are going to be absolutely terrifying. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly how everything plays out here.
Yes, Beat Boop, who we'll refer to as Baby because that's what they stuck as their acronym. Baby have got some former champions in the likes of Antunes and just really seasoned players, Jaffe, Dax. That does say SKKAD, but we will be referring to him as Dax, and P Sweezy. All of them have real I want to say FOF. It's amazing, isn't it? Shara, we're up to season 5 now. I want to say we have FOF pedigree. It's actually something that we can start saying about players now, and there's definitely a lot of that in babies. So they look fantastic in the lock-in, and I think we should be really excited. They're looking to make waves this time. They're looking to take the win.
Yes, and if we look down at the bans right now, we've got a Zeri and a Victor that are the two kind of standouts for me because during qualifiers, those champions were disgusting. If you go back and watch the VODs, more often than not, whichever team had the Victor or the Zeri was winning, like just across the board. There were a couple of Victor plays that were just, oh my goodness, it was just,
Yeah, and so that is going to mean that we are going to see, we'll note there are quite a few respect bans being shown right now. Jaffe's Gangplank has been taken off the table, and Inting mid player, who is subbing in for Wednesday, who is doing a fantastic job in the lock-in for Washed. So we haven't seen much out of them so far, but Anivia and Victor do seem to be their comfort champions. So Baby are basically saying to them, we want to see what this guy can play. So we're going to take his comfort off the table, and therefore we're going to try to draw something out that they might be a little bit less comfortable with. And that is going to be a Xin Zhao first pick there for Godex Anime. We've been seeing a huge amount of priority on this champion at the moment, particularly when Hecarim has been taken off the table. Of course, things like Jarvan and Diana are still open, but so far these teams look like they are going to be going to fairly standardized things. We've got the Jinx lock-in as well, so
yes,
a lot of good stuff.
Godex Anime taking a very strong early jungler is going to be really important. And then we see over here Luru picking up the Jinx, who has also been a very, very powerful ADC. There was a pentakill, I believe, where the Jinx actually flashed in to the enemy team and managed to pick it up during one of the games. If I remember correctly, it may have been by Team Beat Boop or may have been by TDE. I'm blanking on exactly that. But a very powerful ADC. They are going for that late game scaling. So picking up the Volibear, great choice because it's going to give you a nice bit of crowd control and a really strong front line that will allow you to get on top of that Xin Zhao as he tries to go into the back line, and it will just get right inside his protection zone. So you're actually able to damage him and keep him from actually hurting your team.
Of course, yes, the Crescent Guard is an incredibly powerful tool that Beat Boop are going to have to be playing around. And what's interesting, of course, from these bans is we do see a Senna being locked in. That's definitely something that we should note that one of our beloved FOF members, Fang Over Fang, is the coach of Beat Boop, and I think he is a notorious Senna non-enjoyer, so he's going to be laughing a little bit at this locked in against his team. I think it's interesting that we do see very little priority being given to the supports at the moment. We do see the Lulu being taken off the table, just something that people don't want to deal with. But of course, Antunes' Thresh is on the table, renowned for that pick. Something that Washed aren't necessarily possibly not familiar with. As you mentioned, less of them have played in the league before. But with the Jinx still available, it's interesting that Beep Boop are going to hold that. I wouldn't be surprised to see it locked in here.
Yes, and so like it's definitely going to be kind of interesting seeing exactly how we pick it out here. Looking at once week's power rankings, which are actually in the FOF Connect, which is a magazine we have at FOFesports.com that you should go check out. He ranked them as an overall power ranking 9 out of 10 as the individual power ranking, like each of the players, as an 8 out of 10, which I think is a very good way to describe Team Beat Boop. So it's like, just with Antunes getting this hook blitz right now, it's going to be a very aggressive bot lane. They're going to be going for those kills, and unfortunately Senna just doesn't have that mobility, so we're going to have to see Barbitulate trying to avoid getting nabbed and pulled into that backline, or he's just going to get blown up.
Yeah, of course, the Senna, not a particularly mobile AD carry. You do get a little bit of, from the mist, you do get a little bit of movement speed, but it is going to be something. There's going to be a mini game going around the bot lane, and this is a much more aggressive pick that we'd be seeing from the potential Thresh, allowing the Jinx to scale up. We are actually going to be seeing Luru and Antunes, I think, are going to be looking to scrap down there. In particular, we will be... It'll be interesting to see what Johnny Tsunami is going to lock in response to this. We do have the Morgana being taken off the table, of course, a classic counterpick to the Blitzcrank with the Black Shield, so that's something that Beat Boop are aware of. What do we think about this? I mean, Sharo, have you played against much of this new Ahri? Because we've seen mixed results across the globe at the moment from this pick, and I mean, it's a nice as we go into the second round of bans, just a nice pick in. It's quite safe. It scales fairly well. And of course, in team mid player, we have very little information on beyond those two picks, the Victor and the Anivia. So how do we feel about this? What do we think P Sweezy is going to be pulling into it?
So going into this Ahri, I'm very glad to see the Veigar ban coming out, because that does limit some of Ahri's mobility just by locking her in that cage, allowing it to get some abilities off. Personally, I haven't encountered the Ahri too much, usually because of the fact that my mid lane just gets completely blown up. So by the time I meet the Ahri anyway, they're already so strong that as a Leona player, I can't hit them anyway with the Zenith Blade. So it's like I'm not even going in at all. But it's kind of one of those things. It works in some people's hands, it doesn't work in others, and it's been really interesting to see it kind of shift around. And with the last ban coming out here for the Gragas and the Mundo, I do like seeing the Mundo ban, though I have been seeing some people play Mundo like old style Mundo for some reason, and using his ult incorrectly during the qualifiers. So I think that was probably more of just unfamiliarity with the pick. Not entirely sure on that front. However, I do think the Gragas is very important, taking that off the table, just because of the fact that we kind of have Volley being that flex pick, and we do know Stax is very good jumping onto that Gragas.
So P Sweezy locking in the Lissandra, that is a signature pick for this mid laner, and is basically saying, look, if you want to play mobility, then I've got the champion for that. It also allows a lot of dive potential for Beat Boop here. We have a Blitzcrank, of course, we have a Volibear, we have a Lissandra, we have methods of setting up dives. So I think they are looking to potentially play around their mid lane, try to put as much pressure as possible on this player, because they know so little about them. In response, the Tahm Kench I really like here, of course. That is indicative that it is going to be a fasting Senna lane, most likely, but also it provides a great amount of disengage, which is something that Washed are definitely going to be needing here, alongside the Crescent Guard, just as ways of keeping their AD carry alive. Because, as I said, a lot of dive potential from the side of Beat Boop they're going to have to deal with.
There is, and they are... Washed is desperately going to need that disengage, because just looking at these two team comps right now, I basically feel like whatever Beat Boop picks up here is just going to be a nail in the coffin, based on the way that these two teams have drafted. I am really leaning hard onto Beat Boop's comp, because they just want to fight it out super hard, while Washed wants to let Senna and Karthus scale up so that they become a monster in the late game. Beat Boop just isn't going to let that happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Beat Boop are looking to snowball the early game massively. I was speaking to Jaffe prior to the game, and he did mention that the top Shiv might be coming out, particularly with the Gangplank being taken away already, and the Gragas. So that's going to be an interesting one to see, of course. One thing we do need to note here, of course, is that with the Karthus coming out, this is potentially a flex towards a top Xin Zhao, which is something we hadn't noted already, and that is not something you see very often. This is, yes, it's taken me a moment. I will note, Sharagan, it's already coming up to 1 a.m. here, so I'm a little bit not quite on the ball, but the flex into the... It'll be interesting to see because I'm not sure. I've never seen Godex Anime play Karthus. I do wonder a little bit how this is going to play out along the top side, and I also wonder how they're going to deal with the amount of pressure that a Volibear is able to put down early, and potentially Antunes roaming on the Blitzcrank as well. So I think Washed are going to have their work cut out for them in the top side, particularly with these two picks.
They definitely are, and what a game, though, to start off the Season 5. We've got this jumping out right here. I'm already expecting this five-man roam going in for the... You know they're going to go for the invade. Like, it's going to happen. So it's going to be a question of how does Washed respond to it?
I've been completely debated here, Sharon. Look at this comp coming out from Washed. I'm glad I'm not on the side of BB because I'd already be scratching my head right now. That is quite a bot lane that we see right here, and I think
it is a bot lane.
It's going to have a bit of a time for Blitzcrank, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's going to make him... So I feel like they just decided, oh, we're not going to try and stop the Blitz from hooking us. We're just going to poke him down so much that he's not going to want to hook in the first place. Which, unfortunately for them... Okay, so this is interesting. Hanging over the wall, so they drop the ward down. The question is, are they going to catch the 3 members out? Because Washed do not have vision right now.
They do not, and they have to be expecting this with a Blitzcrank locked in. It's one of the most obvious things is to go and take the invade, but I mean, it doesn't look like, yeah.
I feel like if I was Beat Boop and I didn't see anyone there, and I didn't see the bot lane, like you didn't have any sign of the bot lane or that, I might have stuck around for just a little bit longer because then you would have been able to peek them out here. I do like Wash's tactic of hiding out in that bush. It's a little bit less aggressive than you would expect, and I feel like they more got lucky in that instance than actually like strategically working.
So the bot lane is definitely the one I think we want to keep our eye on. Of course, this is not a lane matchup you see very often. No. In particular, as you mentioned, I mean, if you hook the Karthus in, burst him down, he does get to just farm BH stacks on you, and he's going to be very happy scaling up towards the late game. So they have an angle there. I think it's going to be still something they're going to have to deal with. Just to make sure they don't get snowballed too early. But it does look like, as you mentioned, quite a lot of poke coming down. Antunes has got to be quite careful.
He's got to be quite careful. I do like what they're doing right here. Karthus is definitely hitting that wave pretty hard. The hook does come out from Antunes, doesn't manage to actually connect, though. The lollipop was not in his favor just there. Now, this top lane Shyvana versus Tahm Kench, I'm not entirely sure how this matchup is going to go.
Well... It's not one I'm too familiar either, but as you know, we've got double PTAs on the side of Jaffe and Dax, so definitely indicates they're looking to fight early. It is a great rune early, and as we can see already, Dax is making his way up to the tri-bush, so he's already sniffing a little bit. He does have a faster clear. He did get leashed, so he's a little bit ahead of Godex Anime here. Godex Anime has to be aware that this is a potential early gank attempt, so we might be seeing something going on the top side fairly quickly.
Maybe, yeah, it's just, unfortunately, the way positioned was not in Jaffe's favor. It was pushed up a little bit too far, and there was that ward in the river brush, so there wasn't much they could really do about it. We do see that Xin Zhao and Ahri have both been caught out, and that's a nice hook come down on Antunes, as, unfortunately, Johnny Tsunami just gets blasted into smithereens.
He does, and of course, if you hook the Senna and not the Karthus, then you don't have anything to worry about, do you? He gets destroyed. He takes his both of his summoners burned as well. So, yeah, the Karthus.
And very proactively, we've got a fight going on over here. That is going to be a flash coming out on Godax Anime's side, but he's not going to be able to get out, as that is going to be a flash from Dax as well to finish off the kill. That is going to be a 1-for-1 trade as of right now. Inting mid player is trying to find some assistance from PJ Salt. He does manage to get it, but unfortunately, it's going to be just barely enough. He's walking right into Jaffe, though. We do see Baby just trying to finish this off, and they are able to pick it up yet again. The Volley Bear just having himself some lunch. PJ Salt getting caught out. He's going to have to flash as well. That is going to be 3 flashes during that fight, 2 coming out from the side of Team Washed.
And once again, Antunes is already on the prowl. This is one of the best supports that FOF has ever seen. And if you're going to draft a high scaling but low early impact bot lane, then you have to be aware this is going to happen, because already, yes, Inti mid player did manage to pick up a kill there, so that's already putting them somewhere in the lead. But as you can see, the top side for Beat Boop is already accelerated, and that's exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah, I was going to call out that proactive roam by Antunes as he was going up the river after picking up that kill. And then with the way things are now, that's going to make Rift Herald a very easy thing for Beat Boop to try and pick up here momentarily, because they've got really strong positioning on their side. But as we kind of look to here, we see we're starting off with the Infernal Drakes. Now, my predictions have not been good lately with the addition of Chemtech and Hextech, and then Chemtech getting taken out. So I'm going to have to try and get those back around. I'm not quite ready to start calling it yet, just as an FYI.
Well, we'll see. I mean, at the moment, I think Washed are quite happy just to take control of that bot side river, because they are aware that with that, with the Jinx already on her Noon Quiver, they do have some priority down there in the bot side. So, and with the Volley Bear versus Jinjiao, this bot lane can't do too much early. So they're happy just to maintain control of that vision, not try to play in too much. It does look like Godex Anime might be looking for something in the mid lane, though.
Yep, Jaffe in the meantime looking for something up here in the top, but we do see that we have a really good escape coming out from PJ Salt.
And of course, it's a neutralizing pick, of course, for Tom Kench.
What you were calling out right there, P Sweezy, though, he's just slippery.
Nothing too much there from there.
Oh, ult coming out on top. Jaffe going in hard on PJ Salt. PJ Salt getting exceptionally low. There's going to be the flash coming out from Jaffe, but unfortunately, the shield is going to be too much, and Jaffe nearly taken out by the tower.
No, but Jaffe is going to be quite happy with that, because whilst he's not going to be able to take down PJ Salt entirely, he's got TP advantage. He's got to push here. Look at the amount that wave.
Jaffe wants it. He wants it so bad, but Godex Anime is hungry for some dinner too. The Dragon Slayer, he's coming around the corner looking for that hit. Doesn't man, just going to walk straight up onto Jaffe because he knows he's got the damage, and that's going to be a nice knock up, and that is going to be a kill going over for Godex Anime. No assist though for PJ Salt.
No assist there for PJ Salt, and also he did have to give up a lot of his wave in order to go and assist him. So he is down. He can't linger there for too long, in fact, so he won't
taking
be able
a lot
to
of minion damage, actually.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get the crash either, and Jaffe's got the TP up in the top side. So actually, even though he does get ganked ultimately,
He's Weezy coming out with the Frozen Tomb, and that is going to be a dead Fox right there. Oh, we got a fight going on here in the bot lane as well. Antunes flashing onto Johnny Tsunami. That is going to be bot lane separated, and that's going to be a nice bit of damage coming out from Dax as he manages to shred apart the poor Seta. And then we have the Jinx Rocket coming out to finish off the Karthus. Man, that was a really well done fight down there.
Well, Dax isn't going to wait for 6 to dive at the moment, considering how far ahead his bot lane already is. Look at this. The Luru is big already. There's a 20 CS lead down in the bot side. Both of them of the bot lane are fed. The Volley Bear's fed. We knew that BBoop were looking to snowball this early game, and so far they're doing a pretty good job of it. 3K ahead already.
They're doing a fantastic job of it. And you can see like the triple ping coming out onto the Blitzcrank. They've already figured out Antunes is not going to stay bot lane. We need to make sure we know when he's not there.
As you can see, he's already roaming his way potentially towards the top side as PJ Salt is pushed in. He's got to be a little bit careful.
Jaffe built up that period. Look at this. P Sweezy just every single time is getting out.
Yeah, and they were thinking, of course, that with P Sweezy making use of the ult to get the solo kill onto Inting mid player earlier, there was an angle there as the mid lane.
Do see some fighting going on in the mid lane and top lane at the same time. Nice bit of poke back and forth. I do like the way this top lane is going for Jaffe. The Shyvana's able to get some really nice poke onto Tom Kench in order to get him to pop his shield earlier than necessary during these fights. And it's just because of his dwelling teleport that he's able to survive most of the attacks.
We do note, of course, that we have tank jungler and dual AP solo laners because Sharo, with our favorite arcane character being as strong as she is, that's literally all you need. So this isn't. This is. I mean, I think it is anyway. I mean, actually, it could be a Bork coming up. I'll be honest, I have no idea what Shyvana builds. I was assuming it might be some AP Nash's Tooth shenanigans, but it could be a Bork, who knows? Either way, the point being that they can kind of... Their damage profile is quite comfortable if we have a Lissandra scaling with AP, but we also have a Jinx she's getting plates for free, so this bot lane is just going to have to clear as best it can. It's already 25 CS down now. It's not getting any better.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. It could be a Bork that we see coming out from Shyvana. I'm not entirely sure what the exact item is going to be. She does like to build attack speed, though, just because when in Dragon form, her claws do deal a lot of damage, and being able to hit multiple times, you don't have to go for the nuke shot every single game. And then obviously right here, Johnny Tsunami, Barbitulate, they're not respecting the fact that we've not seen Antunes for a couple of seconds. They thought he left the lane, but in fact that is not the case. That is going to be the flash heal coming out from Johnny Tsunami. The Ignite's going to come down as well, mitigating a lot of that healing. He is very low, and this is going to be an easy pickoff for Antunes here momentarily. This wave just basically belongs to Luru.
Yeah, this was a very ambitious bot lane pick, and so far it isn't working out. Not enough respect given to the amount of playmaking potential that this Blitzcrank has, who is currently zoning both of the bot lane on his own.
Yeah, just kind of walking up. Well, in the meantime, Luru's just like, I'm just going to farm back here, do my little thing. Oh, look at that.
Hello.
Trying to take Jaffe under tower. Does manage to get a tower shot off, but unfortunately, it's only one instead of the two. Look at the amount of damage he's taking, getting burned away by the Dragon Fire.
And with just a lot of damage coming out from Jaffe fairly early, even though we do know how good Tahm Kench's base stats are. We were talking earlier, I mean, he's had tempo advantage the entire time. There is a huge CS deficit up here on the top side, which is only going to get worse. Plates going in for Jaffe. A bit of a top lane kingdom coming out right now, and got extended. He can't be there the whole time.
The minions managed to catch up Barbitulate, and then we got the Volibear coming in, dogging out the tower so that Lure is able to get safely through that and able to get a lot of damage. That is only going to be one kill, though, but that's really all they need.
Mid laners are roaming down as well now. We could be seeing a potential 4v3, but there's not much that Wash can do about this, really.
There really isn't, and with the Rift Herald coming down, that's going to be bot tower gone. That's just, oh.
That
Bot tower's going to fall. That's going to be Dragon going over to them as well, so that is going to be a Windrake pickup for Team Baby. That's going to make Antunes even scarier as he's roaming around the map even faster.
Yeah, and we're about to see the Soul Shower. You want to make a call? You want to make a call? I believe in you.
I wasn't going to make the call. I was leaning towards Hextech, and so I'm glad I didn't.
We'll take Ocean here. I mean, nowadays it's, it used to be one of the ones that people were sought after more, but to be honest, I don't know how much it does for these teams, really. I mean, the sustain is quite nice for, particularly for, for the side of, I would say, of Beat Boot, but ultimately, I don't think we're going to get to a Soul this game, if I'm honest, given the way it's going, but we'll see. I mean, a lot of towers are going down already, so with another Herald on the cards fairly soon, I think that's going to be the property of Beat Boop as well.
Look at Hook coming out from Antunes. Once again, you gotta respect that man. He's got a nice good prediction right there. We got a good jump in by inting mid player. He's not quite able to get the damage and the stun off, though, so that does mean that he's just going to take a huge chunk of damage for no reason. That almost went very, very poorly for poor Washed.
You can't walk up in the moment with the Blitzcrank in your lane.
Right there, continuing the fight in the top lane.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's not much PJ Salt can do. He can do something now, though.
He's getting caught out. He's going to have to jump away, go into Dragon Form in order to try and stay alive. Godex Aminate getting a lot of damage off, but that is going to be a killing spree for Dax as he manages to take down Xin Zhao. Jaffe is trying to survive, does somehow manage to stay alive by the skin of his teeth.
Oh, man. I feel for Wash right now. I mean, they're trying to respond with Blaze, but I think it's a little bit too little, too late already. It is a Bork, by the way, that's come out for Jaffe. We do know this doesn't allow for a slightly more mixed damage profile. Not that it matters, because no one's tanky. The Tahm Kench is the bulk, of course, is good against the tank stats, but it really doesn't matter. This tower's going down as well. More gold being funneled into this Jinx, who already is. It would be nice to see the gold, but it might just be depressing, to be honest. She's so far ahead of this Karthus. Yes, the champion scales well, but he doesn't really have a space to farm at the moment because all of his lanes are pushed in. So,
I mean, if we were to look at the gold deficits in comparison to these two teams, just look
at
it's
3K.
It's really, really painful. It's hard to see. Unfortunately, Washed just hasn't been able to go to the bank in order to get that money. Oh, look at Antunes, you cheeky bugger, trying to hit it over the wall.
It would have been very, very cheeky. That's not a jungle camp, though he does look a bit like the Gromp, but nevertheless, might be one they were looking to nick. I mean, so Sharo, at this point, you know, I should be giving. I mean, let's just ingest a little bit of copium for a second. There is some scaling potential from this bot lane, of course. They scale very, very well indeed. They've had a dreadful time of it thus far. They're also having to group, so I'm trying to be positive, but I'm finding it quite difficult here for the side of Wash.
So here's how I would probably do it. If I were in Wash's situation right now, I'd probably try and get a Hull Breaker onto Tom Kench so you can get him into a side lane to really push a side lane hard on his own, and then basically 4-man roam around with the rest of the team so that Senna's able to just soak up as many souls as possible, try and get her into these lanes with these really big farm potential in order to just basically pick up as much as you can, try and catch up on those stacks. And if she were to do that, she'd be able to start trying to get some more ranged and all that. And then once the team fights actually start, you gotta have Xin Zhao somehow get on. Oh, we got a fight going on right here. Dantoon manages to get the silence off. He catches the Krug instead of Ahri, and she is able to get out with all of her tails intact.
Yeah, and so actually, well, to be honest, okay, let's go back a bit. Yes, there's a 9k goal lead.
It's tough. It's not easy. I mean, look at that. That is unfortunate. Getting stunned for just long enough in order for to be caught out by the Blitz Hook. We got the Bullet Bear ult coming out as well. We got a nice bit of damage profile coming out from the Jinx. Lots of damage from those rockets. Not enough to take out Godex Anime. He's going to be able to get away. So that's just going to be the one kill. And it was the one person they didn't want to get because then it just kept the fight from continuing because Karthus just sealed that whole area off.
For a second,
I could have gotten that almost could have been a lot more kills. For Beef if they hadn't killed Karthus.
Yeah, I mean, Luru did get a reset there.
You got it right here. Hook. Antunes didn't see the minion. It got in the way. He is going to get charmed, though. Getting caught out. That's going to be the Zonius. He's going Golden Stay wide to avoid the charm. Silence is going to keep them from being able to actually do anything else to him other than auto attack, and that is going to be him just kind of scoot-dooting away.
Well, Inti mid play actually, I mean, has a completed mythic, so that's something to their favor on the side of
that is their first that is the first mythic that has been completed on the side of Baby, so or not on the side of Team Wash. Now one thing I do want to see Wash doing is somehow pressuring for these bounties, because that is where they're going to be able to actually come back. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going for the Dragon bounty, but we do see P-Sweezy just kind of hanging off right here to the side, trying to slow it down just enough. That is a huge amount of damage coming out, and that's going to be the Smite coming down, but it's going to be Xin Zhao who manages to pick it up, so that's going to be a nice bit of gold in their pocket, but unfortunately, that's going to be 3 members taken down, make that 4 members. Yeah, 3 members taken down. Just, I almost don't think that was worth it for Washington, unfortunately.
No. So this is the thing. So to be honest, as Jaffe went and soloed Herald, as one does, what I would say here is, for a moment there were only 2 turrets down. Now there are 4. The goal lead has gotten substantially bigger, and Shelly's having a good time. Baron is on the cards as well in 2 minutes. It's that early in the game, but obviously the entire, I mean, Watched have not had a whiff of their jungle for quite a while. What I was going to say is that obviously in the in this season 12, game of League of Legends that we all know and love, there is, as you mentioned, Sharo, objective bounties. There is also, hang on, the thought.
Oh, I don't exactly know what happened there with PJ Salt. He didn't quite actually go in. That is going to be the out from Dax. Just silences that turret. I feel like there was a bit of a miscommunication from Washed on that, which resulted in a lot of damage coming out that they just didn't want to see. That shot from downtown, the auto attack rocket coming out from Jinx, managing to take out poor Tsunami. Tsunami's going to go down. That's going to be pulled in by Godix Anime, pulled into the background. And look at this. This is just Baby sweeping the floor up. They are cleaning the rift. And wow. Oh, the shutdown coming out from Karthus as he does manage to pick it up with the burn, taking Dax out of the equation.
All right, well, I mean, we'll take that. That's. I think that was 1K going to the Carthus. That will even up the gold lead somewhat. Good news. Let's once again. So another tower goes down. That's now 7 towers to 0. All of the lanes are pushed, so there is the opportunity. No inhibitors have gone down so far. There is the opportunity to farm back up because the CS leads across the board are quite substantial. I don't think, unfortunately, I just don't think Wash get a whiff of Baron at this point. Going back to that, I agree with you, Sharagan. I think that playing for the Drake there. So there's 2 reasons why I don't like the play for the Drake. One, they got destroyed in the Drake pit, even though they were first in, because they're so far behind that the Volibear can just walk in and kill them. Well,
and
in fact,
he was sitting there the entire time, just hiding out in that bush. They didn't check it.
That is also very true.
That hurts! Antunes, you jerk!
I'd add
Let him have blue buff.
I'd add that there is also, and again, I'm overdosing on copium, but there is also the potential in this Season 12, game of League of Legends of the potential Elder Burger flip. There's always that on the table, but there isn't if you slow down the soul points. So it's clutching at straws. It really is. But once again, I mean, look at the amount.
If it was a different team comp, I'd be able to take as much copium as you are. I honestly can't. Unfortunately, with the team that Wash have drafted into the team that Baby has got up on the board, I can't see a way for them to get out of this, because you have the Frozen Tomb, for example, coming out from Peaceweezy right there, completely locking Karthus in place. It means Barbituate's going to get half health before the rest of the team even shows up, and Peaceweezy's just going to kind of stay alive right here. He does manage to get a nice root off. He's going to have to go golden to stay alive. Antunes is hanging out over the wall, too far away for Zinjao to actually make the connection, but we do see Peaceweezy able to just slip away. It's just a little bit, there's too much mobility on the side of Baby to stay out of Wash's range, and it's part of what's really, really hurting them.
I'm surprised Jaffe hasn't built a hull breaker, by the way, to be honest. Jaffe's had a very good time just shoving in these side lanes at the moment. And, I mean, Baby aren't necessarily going to go for the Baron just yet, I think, because they have no reason to flip it necessarily. They have a Drake coming up in about a minute's time. This bot lane is still very much uncontested. We'll see how long Jaffe stays around here.
Jaffe's going to stay for quite some time. He's going to get caught by the gate from Barbituate, but it's not going to really matter, I don't think. He's probably going to try and bait out all 4 of these members, and he's just going to kind of juke them around. See right there, he got the dragon form coming out in order to try and escape. Flash is going to come out from Godix Enemy in order to stay alive. We do see that Jaffe kind of giving it up, but at the same time, his team is up over at Baron, while 4 members of Washed are in the bot lane.
Oh! I was watching that. I was watching that on the mini-map, by the way. I was wondering. It was close.
I wasn't expecting the amount of damage. That was what kind of shocked me there. I was expecting the hit.
If that wasn't a rapid-fire cannon and it was a damage item, he was dead, for sure. Yeah. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter because that's the Baron.
That is Baron. That does mean that Inting mid player just barely getting by. I do like the Karthus ult in order to suss out the rest of Team Baby to see where they're all at. Does manage to allow to hit Antunes. He's going to get knocked up again. Playing very smartly in order trying to take him out of the equation because he hasn't been the deadliest. Do manage to hit him before the silence comes out, so that means that unfortunately Lure is going to have to rely on auto attacks. But the thing is, it's a Jinx. That's all Jinx does. They just auto attack you to death. And look at that, we got Xin Zhao getting taken off on the side as we see Peaceweezy coming off for the flank. Meantime, Lure manages to pick up the kill onto Tahm Kench. Volibear jumping on top of Dax, or Dax jumping on top of Ahri, taking them out of the equation. So that is 4 members trying to get this dragon, and they're gone.
Yeah, completely disjointed fight there. We do love an aggressive Tahm Kench, of course, in FOF. We did see PJ start jumping
and the stop on the Senna. Look at that health bar. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That is 2 rockets if they hadn't gone rapid fire cannon.
Yeah, I mean, she's got IE now, so yeah, she kills everything at the moment. Luru having a pretty good game, as is, to be honest, everyone on Beat Boop. So they haven't. I mean, because they rotated to Sol, and that was quite an extended fight. You know, they haven't gotten too much value out of the Baron, which is again, I'm just trying to maintain some positivity here because it is a 16k gold lead. So. Once again, the Soul is coming up in 4 minutes' time. They have an opportunity to fight again. They probably shouldn't take it. They can continue to scale up. The Karthus is farming. He's starting to catch up CS-wise. His ults are starting to do a bit of damage. If I were him, I wouldn't be building a Zhonya's, by the way. Just build full damage. Just try to do something to chunk this team, because at the moment you are just getting blown up in extended fights by this Jinx. However,
at this point, I think that Baby is in a position they can just siege down the entire base, because that's two open inhibitors with Jaffe pushing in the bot lane the way he is. That's going to allow him to just take this open inhibitor, or just take down the bot lane turret, or just attract 4 members of Team Washed again, and then just basically allow the objective to be taken on the side of the top lane.
Well, they haven't. I mean, the jungle's not been theirs for quite a while. So to be honest, if I'm Washed right now, just a free open inhib, it's not the end of the world. You know, they're not going to have a taste of this Soul realistically. They are going to have to defend though, and now they managed to push out mid, but I don't think this 1v1 works in Team Mid players' favor.
I don't think it will either, but at the same time, it's really the only option you've got, because if you send Ahri up to the top lane, you're just going to result in another... Unfortunately, look at that. Antunes getting the hook, taking down Karthus. The ult is going to come out after he's dead, though. Managing to try and get something. We do see Senna trying to get a lockdown, not able to find a target. Sweezy jumping into the back, does manage to throw out the claw, doesn't actually manage to get a kill in there. We do have the Volibear once again shutting down the turrets, silencing the Nexus turrets. Jaffe not quite taking any turret damage at the moment. Mid player just trying to stay alive. Antunes going to pull him out of the fountain, so that's not going to be any safety at all. We have Jinx trying to get the auto attacks just on the edge of fountain. Look at that! Trying to take out those Tsunami. Isn't quite able to. He wants to. Oh, does manage to pick it up with the last auto attack.
Well, so
Wash. I don't want you to feel bad, Washed. That was a rough one. Of all of the teams you could have started your FOF series off with, I'm sorry it had to be Baby.
I mean, what a electrifying game to start us off for season 5. Baby came in with a snowball comp, and they snowballed.
They snowballed very, very hard. And this is, I don't know if you've seen this glitch before, but it is a very funny glitch to me. The golden circle with the League L in there.
Yeah,
it's a fun glitch. It's been happening to me a lot of my games. But let's talk about these scores right here. Again, I don't want Wash to feel too bad because it's really rough. Like the way going against Baby is kind of the roughest thing you could have gone up against.
So, I mean, I was caught out in the draft. I'm sure Baby weren't necessarily expecting to have the Karthus center bot lane, the Tom Kinch top. That was an interesting flex. It didn't pay off because I don't think enough respect was given to Antunes' Blitzcrank, because that I don't think you pick 2 ranged into that, and if you don't want to get hooked. Yep. Stellar performance from him. No surprises there. I think maybe you just go for something a little bit easier to play, because you were playing, a weak side top lane that was getting bashed in anyway. I think Inti mid play had a pretty good game, all things considered. So credit to them.
Yep. I agree.
And I think Washed, you have a lot to learn from this. You are definitely getting, as you said, the cream of the league to start things off. And you can come back swinging tomorrow and, have a much better game.
And I want to say I liked the heart that Wash had throughout that entire game. There were not at one point did I feel like they had given up. I feel like they were just, every single time they were looking for picks. They were looking for fights, looking for objectives, which when you start falling behind, that's what you've got to do. You've got to keep trying to say, okay, how do we come back from this? What do we do to get back into this game? So they focused on the dragon and they were able to pick it up. There were some misplays around that. I feel if they go back and double check how they approached that fight, they can find ways to really kind of go, oh, if we had double checked this bush or made sure that we had vision on this area, we wouldn't have all fallen for it, or just had been all ready to use our flash to escape. Something of that nature really would have worked out for them in their favor.
Of course, yeah. And if we look back as well, we did see, Dax and Antunes just roaming around the map, wreaking havoc. And I think Godix Anime was having quite a tough time, keeping up with this aggressive style. Obviously, the Xin Zhao is pretty good at counter ganking. It could have worked out, but I think they just have to be a little bit more careful with how they track the opposing jungler's pathing. And again, just play something a little bit safer if you are expecting to have a rough time early on. And if you want to scale, that's fantastic. But you've got to make sure you've got one Tahm, especially when the Tahm Kench, I will add, it was an aggressive Tahm Kench. We do love a little bit of that. But when your only forms of disengage are just getting shredded anyway, then maybe just play for something with a little bit more defense, maybe set things up so you can actually play the range game, because they did have damage, they had poke, but ultimately they did get hooked.
Yep, unfortunately so. And with that, we're going to be right back, folks. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with an interview from our winners, so stick around.
All right, folks, hello, welcome back. It is once again Chris Edgeworth here on our winners interview desk, and I'm joined for our first interview of this 5th season with Dax from the Victorious Baby, Team B-Boop, whichever way you want to think about it. Dax, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I do want to start by setting the table with the triumphant return of Baby to the league. You, of course, are also a familiar face coming to us from BBZ. But now you find yourself over on Team B-Boop. What was it like getting the band back together, putting together this team, and your own transition from one team into another?
Yeah, well, it wasn't too much for me. Actually, I wasn't actually looking to play in Heroic at the start of the season. I was playing with SGR. Shout out to Mythic. Go sign up if you haven't. But I was playing with them in scrims a lot. And Jaffe, who was my teammate last season on BBZ, was just telling me he needed a jungler. And I told him that I'd be totally down in playing with him. And then when we went into qualifiers, I agreed with him that if we went 4-0 day one, that I would start with them and continue playing the season. So that's just kind of how it goes here. And then my buddy P Sweezy is someone I've been meaning to play a season with since like season 3 of FOF. He was on the team, which made me want to play some more.
Yeah, so you folks have what, three top laners on your team? No, sorry.
No, just 2 technically. Yeah, 2.5, I guess. I think Luru and Antunes have always been in the bot lane, so it's just P Sweezy and Jaffe that are solo lanes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, right on. So let's talk about this first victory that you folks were able to put together for BBZ. The Jinx did have an interesting matchup in the bottom against the Senecarthus bot lane, and then you yourself were creating havoc out there on the Bear. So what were your thoughts about this draft that you folks had put together, and just generally how the game turned out for you folks? Since it was such a massive victory over Team Watched.
Yeah, no, draft went pretty well for us. I think we were always planning. Well, I guess Jinx from Arcane is just honestly one of the best AD carries in the game, and if it's not being contested B1, it should be picked in my opinion. So we were always going to be contesting that pick between first or second pick, and if they picked it, we did have a plan to go into it that we'll be using in future iterations, but we didn't have to bring it out this time because they first picked the Xin. We were a bit surprised that they did ban the Zeri blue side, but we did see them doing that in qualifiers, so it just makes me assume that their AD carry is not comfortable on it. So there's no handshake going on there. So overall, like draft, first 3 out of the gate, we were feeling really good. Having Antunes on Blitzcrank and Volibear is just such a strong comfort pick for me right now that I think it's always going to be easy for me to shot call for my team during those games.
And it looked like it was going smooth this game. I really liked that you folks were starting off the season with a little bit of some pre-planning. I don't know if that was you had some info that you had scouted on them about their tendencies at the level 1, but I really liked that you folks were willing to commit to a deep level 1. It didn't end up turning into anything. You folks passed like ships in the night, but because they were just above you. And but yeah, it was really interesting to see how you folks were able to pull out some interesting team cohesion in this first game. So that leads me into the goals for this 5th season for both you and for your team. What are your thoughts on your goals going into the season and the goals for Baby?
Well, maybe to start off with my own goal, my main priority is to camp the crap out of Red and Hyakimaru in whatever games I get to play against them. So that's my personal goal. The overall goal for Baby, I think everyone's put us at first, which I can't say I'm like overly surprised, but I am a little surprised that we're just first around the board. I do think we have a strong roster. So I think overall goal is to be able to grow with the roster that we have at the moment. Because I do believe we are a significant threat for the top 4 teams within this league. But I think that the other teams are going to be growing as we continue to play. So I just want to have our grow be at least parallel with them so we stay on top.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this interview. Thank you so much, Dax, for joining us for this first interview of the season. But before we step away, your opportunity for the floor. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us before you step away?
No final thoughts. I'm just super excited. The FF's been going, and yeah, I'm going to be camping the crap out of you tomorrow, Jordan.
All right, well, be on the lookout for that game, folks, coming to you on our second day of Friend or Foe Season 5. But we have another game, 3 more games coming up soon. Our second game after a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back just in a minute.